There's never any doubts in my mind because I'm the best in the world. Even though a lot of you don't like to hear it, it's facts. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best. And I'm just convinced, you know what I mean? These fellas, I dare them challenge me with their somewhat primitive skills. They're just as good as dead.
Slam, Big Mac 11, back of the 7 on some bullshit.
My name is Michael Artis, and I make portraiture, I'd say. It's a kind of roundabout way, but it's mostly with black figures, portraiture.
Yeah. What's portraiture?
Portraiture is just human figures, mostly like, it could be full body, just body up, head, but just human portraiture, yeah.
You said mostly black figures?
Yes, mostly black figures.
What inspired you to want to do that type of art?
Well, there's a lot with black, like famous black figures that there's like a lot of symbolism behind just doing them in general. But it's like visually appealing, and it just looking at a famous black figure kind of tells a story in of itself. Like if you think of maybe the famous, like the most legendary boxers, like who would you think of?
Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali.
Okay, so Muhammad Ali got beat 5 times before. Like he's a legend, but he got beat 5 times. But why? What makes him a legend? And I've like really sit down and think about stuff like this. Same thing with Michael Jordan. He's been beat. He's lost games before. So why is he a legend? And of course they're good at their craft, but it's more about what I learn and what I try to incorporate in myself, just even from my own paintings, is these people are who they are based on who they are more so than what they do. Muhammad Ali, he would always say, "I am the greatest," and you got to show people who you are more than just your craft. And that's kind of like a big symbolistic approach I go to all my paintings. It's just like it's more than just the person that I'm painting. It's like it's who they are rather than just what they do, if that makes sense.
Definitely. So what kind of characteristics, or how do you achieve that? So like if you are painting someone and you want to kind of convey that there's something larger than just their craft that they do specifically, like what in your art do you do to achieve that?
I like putting my work to I just like my work being open to interpretation. I do slip in symbols sometimes, but can you ask that question again?
Yeah, definitely.
It's hard to answer that.
Good. Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, because you mentioned that to you, whenever like these celebrity figures or historical figures are more than just the craft that they do. So Muhammad Ali is like more than just a boxer.
Just a boxer. Yeah.
And so like, what in your art, how do you kind of create imagery to represent that someone is not only what their craft is?
Okay. I think so. Even I'll put certain symbols in my art sometimes, but at the end of the day, I don't even have to do too much to embody that. I use vibrant colors, and my art's very poppy, like pop art style, but it's still kind of realistic. But just little things like that kind of just make the painting pop, and just the pop just shows how big the person is. Like, and even just seeing the person being like, oh, that's Muhammad Ali, you don't think it just, oh, that's Muhammad Ali, let me walk on. It'll start a conversation. But in the future, I do want to go beyond just famous figures. Like one day, I just want to paint. One day I'll be able to paint whatever I want to paint, and it'll be to my happiness, because it's hard to explain, but like just doing figures, there's so much more that I could do than just historical black figures and legends and stuff, like to tell different stories. But in all reality, this is what's giving me my push, like doing what I'm doing right now. And everyone has their beginnings, but as time progresses, I will go deeper and further doing different things than what I'm doing now.
Definitely, definitely. And I feel like, at least in my own experience creating art, that one of the biggest parts of being an artist is like knowing when to stop, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to not put too much into something.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested in, as far as your process, how do you know, like, I'm done, this is all I want to do
Okay,
right
so I have two things to say about this. Once I'm done with the first one, you gotta remind me to say the second one, because I will forget. I go in deep trains of thought. But okay, so the first thing, when I just started, I had, within 3 months, I had to do 40 commissions. So I lost about 12 pounds. I was not eating enough. I wasn't sleeping enough. I wasn't taking care of my health. I wasn't working out. So mentally, I was drained. Physically, I was drained and feeling unhealthy. But I was making good money, but I wasn't taking care of myself. So what I try to focus on is taking care of myself first and then doing the art, because at the end of the day, if you can't take care of yourself, your art's not going to be up to par, because your art is going to embody how you're feeling at the time. So I make sure to take care of myself. That's number one. And number two, like the art side rather than the business side of it. So I heard David Cho, he's an artist, he's a famous artist. He said that he went to a Picasso exhibit and he realized when Picasso was 15, he was painting hyperrealism. And as time progressed, like he went to his blue period, and like Picasso went through like mental illnesses like depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. So then he went to like a cubist period, so like he would paint in lots of shapes and like weird facial features and round shapes and stuff. And then as time progressed, he got older and older. And once he was just old and painting, he was just scribbling on a canvas. And like that resonated with me, because doing the same thing over and over again, you will get tired of it. So you gotta, like, he just had the need to find something different to do. And he just did everything to the point where he was just scribbling on a canvas just to be able to feel that new buzz of something new. So that's when I was like, yeah, because I have been getting tired of doing what I'm doing now, like just famous people. And I try to just get new ideas, do new things. And recently I just had like a burst of creativity and just did something that didn't have anything to do with a creative or a legendary figure or anything, but it was like out of my creativity. But like I said, after time progresses, you have to change up something, and something has to change. Yeah.
Definitely. And I know you mentioned kind of before we got on camera that you went to UMKC, you also went to KU.
Yeah.
And I'm interested as like a black artist and like being in like white institutions.
I'm glad you're about to ask this question.
Definitely. And like being in white institutions, because you mentioned like Cubism.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really know anything about
yeah,
that type of art stuff, but I'm interested, like, did you have to like unlearn stuff that you were taught in school, and like how do you decide to, like, as an individual, your own style, kind of how did you decide who you want to be, like, outside of what you kind of were taught by white institutions?
That's a big question. I'm gonna wait till these sirens stop. Yeah, so I actually didn't go to art school. I didn't go to school for art because I was discouraged to going to school for art because my dad didn't think it was like a reason, which I understand, but art is what I had scholarships to go to school for, but I was discouraged into going to school for art. So I went for architecture, then I went for medical, then I went for nursing, then I went for psychology just because I wanted to get done with it. So I changed my major 3 times. But being at a white institution is something that's just hard to explain to people because there's not that many of us who go to white institutions at all. Like KU maybe had less than 2% of a black population there. So honestly, I didn't take any of it as serious. I didn't take it really seriously I mean, I got all my work done, everything. I got good grades, but it's the whole experience was almost like I felt like I had to change who I was to be in some place like that. Like it's hard to explain. So like when I would walk into a classroom, it'd make me uncomfortable to wear certain things. Like I wouldn't be able to wear something like this. I like what I'm wearing right now, and I wouldn't be able to wear this to class without feeling uncomfortable by being judged by eyes or something. Like I wouldn't wear my hair. I wouldn't have colored hair, or when I had dreads, like it was uncomfortable for me to have dreads because I would always get questions on it, and it was just like a pestering just thing. It's so weird to be black in a white institution, and a lot of people won't get it, but when I found art after it was like the end of my college when I found art again, it kind of helped me find myself too and be like, okay, so now I don't have to appease to a boss, some white boss, or appease like some crowd of white people. Like I can appease myself and be happy with who I want to be. Because if I was going to a job and I was like who I am now, I'd have lots of looks. But I created my own job, so I created whoever I want to be. I can be that. And honestly, that's a huge 5-year learning experience I went through, and now I'm a different person from it. I don't know if that answered your question, but that's a topic I could talk about for hours.
Yeah, I'm also interested just like in who your inspirations are in terms of art, whether it be visual artists, whether it be painters, whether it be rappers, people's work ethic, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hate sounding like a stan, but Kanye West 100% is a huge inspiration. That dog hates me. He's just looking straight at us. Kanye West, who else can I say? John Moody, he's an artist. I think he's from New Orleans. He's a big inspiration on how I promote myself. Kehinde Wiley in high school was a huge inspiration. Man, that dog.
Yeah, we can maybe wait and see.
Okay. He's doing that for us.
Yeah.
He's looking straight at me.